Man, did Usopp really fall in a pile of shit and come out smelling like roses in this one. Great chapter, great connection, great ending. One Piece, chapter 384. Signal the counterattack.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and tantalizing action-packed thriller-minute, never know where it's coming from next tale of One Piece. Man, this is great stuff. Our last chapter saw us with Luffy fighting, one-on-one against Bluno, and looking like he was getting the upper hand as he was trying to, of course, get across to the, to the actual courthouse and the Tower of Law and all that, where Robin and Frankie, we know, are being held. Sadamu had been shot, one of the King Bulls, and started to go down. Gamora, though, was going to still keep going. I mean, that we lost Usopp, all hell's breaking loose, and I love it. So, that's kind of where things left off. Things pick up over here, and the beginning and the end of this, man, are just killer. So the beginning is Usopp, right, is sitting there having some self-doubt because he's been left behind. He didn't get on the King Bulls. Everybody's ahead fighting and this and that, and he's like, man, maybe I should take off. Maybe I should tuck tail and run. And then he goes and he kind of psychs himself up, and he's just like, you know what? No, Robin's putting her life on the line to save us. I I myself so I could actually come here with the crew and everything like that. The crew, obviously, that he had quit and left and what have you, and basically he wrestles with this self-doubt and ultimately says, no, bullshit, I need to stay, right? Well, all of a sudden when he turns around, there's like a wave kind of washes up by him. He's like, whoa, 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 it's a water attack? And you see that it's not a water attack, it's one of the giants. It's Oimo, I think it was. And I think so because Oimo reminds me of like Oink from like a pig, and he has like a piggy type nose. But anyway, I could be wrong. Could have been Kashi. I think it was Oimo. Kind of washes up on shore there, and he's now getting awake, right? And what winds up happening, we find this awesome backstory. And obviously, when I saw the giants, first thing I thought of was Dorry and Broggy, the great warriors from Elbaf. So anyway, you find out very quickly that these two, Oimo and Kashi, that they've been in the service of the world government for 50 years, guarding these, guarding Eni's lobby and making sure nobody gets past them and gets on the main island, right? And you find out that the whole deal is that they were part of Dorry and Broggy's pirate crew 100 years ago. And that their chiefs, Dorry and Broggy, wound up having a quarrel and a battle, and they were basically all told to disband and kind of go back to their island, their homeland, Elbaf. And then after several years, nobody appeared and nobody came back, so they went in search of Dorry and Broggy, right, back out onto the Grand Line. They were captured at some point by the world government, and they were told by the world government that their chiefs had been caught and were being held here, probably an impel down, I'm thinking, or something like that. They were being held by the world government. They were in prison. They were given a deal that if they could successfully defend the gates to Eni's lobby for 100 years, that their chiefs would be released. They've been doing it successfully for 50 years, but now they're all bummed because obviously the pirates got past them. They've failed in their job, right? God, the lies that the world government will tell, what ends will they not go to, So, so Usopp's like, all right, hold on a second, that's kind of a funny story there, and he's like, well, what's funny about it? And Usopp goes and lays it out for him. He's like, I know your chiefs. They're still fighting. Dorry and Broggy, I can describe the weapons they use, their fighting techniques, I mean, he obviously, he befriended and knew them on the island, And so the world government has lied to you, And then they just kind of leave us hanging there, right? And then we go and we see the kind of middle portion of the chapter is really what it winds up being is you got the one King Bull that's still going, Gamora. He winds up going and getting, but before he gets stopped or slowed down, I mean, obviously everybody's closing in around them. One of them's injured. All hell's breaking loose. We do get a brief interaction with the Chief Justice, Baskerville, where he's basically found out that, pretty much everybody's been failing so far. So he winds up saying to let go of the 11, what does he call them? Here we go. Let loose the 11 righteous jurors. And everybody's like, are you serious? They'll crush the town. They'll crush the whole town. So that's what he's letting loose to go and try to mop up for things. We then go on to Gamora, and we see all the Frankie family and everybody who's left with the Straw Hats, of course, charging forward. And you got to remember that they're charging forward on this thing because they don't have time or the manpower to go and take out the thousands of soldiers that they have. That's how Luffy's been getting through everything. He takes out some guys, and then he moves on, And really, that's what's happening over here. They cannot afford to stop or slow down and get boxed in. So anyway, they do wind up getting slowed down and boxed in because Gamora winds up getting hit by something. It looks like a bunch of like chain balls, you know, ball and chains, really, you know. that's what it looks like. It gets hit by, it gets downed. They wind up stopping it, and they're thinking, oh shit, there's thousands of soldiers. There's a great perspective shot of everything from above that when you wind up seeing this, you know, this King Bull go down, and you actually go and see the thing. Well, first of all, here you go, you see, and I'm assuming this is the 11, something having to do with the 11 judicious, you know, jurors or whatever, right? But then you wind up seeing a good perspective shot overhead. They're just surrounded. There's just soldiers every frickin' where, right? So anyway, all of a sudden, the snail transponder, the Den Mushi, I believe they're called, winds up ringing that they have on there, and they answer the phone, and what? Hello, who is it? You know, and I think Nami answers, and it's Kokoro, and they're like, you know, it's the old lady, right? Well, Kokoro and Chimney and whatnot got some information they want to give them. On Paulie's map, did they notice that between the building at the back of it and between the Tower of Law and all that, there's an empty space, there's no bridge, there's no nothing? Oh yeah, we did notice that on the map. Well, what winds up having to, what you have to do to get that to go, to get between there, to bridge that gap, is in each one of the towers on each side, there is a lever that needs to be pulled, probably simultaneously, and that will lower a drawbridge that will allow you to go and pass across and get to what I'm assuming is the courthouse there, and that Tower of Law that, of course, Frankie and Robin are being held in. We get a brief check-in with Frankie and Robin, but honestly, it's Frankie just kind of bitching a little bit about things, and both of them just sort of like just tied up and sitting there. There's nothing of real significance that I saw there. But anyway, the point is that they give a bunch of information to them, and which is nice. They're explaining what's happening. This is closing in on you. So they say, listen, keep the phone nearby here because we got tons of information they can give you. So now you've got Kokoro and Chimney and whatnot feeding intel to them about the island itself. And Kokoro knows about this bridge and everything like that because they ask, how the hell do you know about that? And I guess her and Tom wound up, you know, having to do some repairs on the island, you know, way back when Tom was still alive and everything else. So they have some inside knowledge on the inner workings of Enies Lobby. Very, very cool stuff, which I, of course, enjoy. So we kind of are left hanging with them over there. Listen, we have to go and fight through things. You know, the Frankie family, they're going to go and take care of trying to get to the towers and actually, you know, lower the drawbridge. And they direct everybody else, of course, the Strayats and whatnot, because they know now where Luffy is. They also get some info from Chimney about seeing that they saw Luffy up on the tower. They saw some crumbling. They think there's a fight going down over there. So now they know what direction they have to go in. Frankie family is going to lower the drawbridge. Everybody else is going to go try to find Luffy and in the process get the hell across the drawbridge, and all hell is breaking loose. But just the pinnacle, just the good feeling that you get from the end of this chapter, right, is you were left hanging with the Kashi and Oimo thing and Usopp telling them what was what and everything else. And then you go back to the end of the chapter. At the end of the chapter, you go back to where Paulie and Tilestone and Lulu are just desperately fighting. They're starting to get overtaken now. Okay, they're starting to wear down. They got nothing left. And all of a sudden, Oimo and Kashi appear. Boom, boom, you know. And you got the world government. Oh, Oimo and Kashi are back. Crush these three. Take them out. Crush them. You know. And Paulie's just like, man, I don't even have the strength to go and fight them again. Right? They're running on empty. They got nothing left. You know. All of a sudden, man, you just get them come in there, and Kashi and Oimo just fucking taking guys out left and right. World government, soldiers, whatever the hell these guys are, doesn't matter. They are pissed off because they have been lied to, and they are going to take that out as long as they feel like they're going to wind up taking out that anger and that hatred for being lied to. I love this here. This is great. You tricked us. And I just picture these big giants just, you tricked us, you know? And then I love this shit. They're like, oh, yikes, you know, what the hell? They've joined the other side. Before we rejoice over our crew's, our chief's safety, before we lament our lost time, we'll vent our anger until we're satisfied. Join us, Sniper King. And he's like, no problem. Signal the counterattack. Hurry to your comrades. So Usopp winds up going, and I mean, this guy, I tell you, talk about falling in a pile of shit and coming out smelling like roses, right? He doesn't get on the King Bulls to get with everybody. He's like wrestling with his self-doubt. Maybe I should retreat. Maybe decides that he's gonna go and man up, grab his sack, and go on, right? And then he goes and he just happens to come across, you know, and he has such admiration and adoration for obviously the great warriors of Elbaf and for Dorry and Broggy, them, their story, their struggle, everything. And for him to be the one that winds up going and talking to a barely conscious, kind of just gotten his ass knocked out and woke back up, you know, Kashi or Oimo or whatever, and then to go and lay it down and make the connection between the two, you know, between what's going on and Dorry and Broggy, and let them know that they've been lied to for the last half a century. And they were like, listen, you know, giants usually live for about 300 years, so we agreed with just wholeheartedly to freeing our chiefs if we gave 100 years of servitude, right? 100 years drop in the bucket for us, no big deal. So what a way to go and connect that from back like 250 chapters ago, man. Absolutely just fucking love the way everything is written, connected. And now Usopp has got 2 giants at his back, man. He just recruited and wound up getting 2 of the biggest threats on Enies Lobby to become 2 of the biggest allies, you know? Oh my God, I love it. Anyways, that's where the chapter ends off over there. And my chapter question for you, brothers and sisters, is really, what are your thoughts on, obviously, the connection between Dorry and Broggy and Oimo and Kashi, and just how it's all cleverly woven into the plot device that is, hey, we were bad and against you, but only because we had to be and we thought we were protecting our chiefs, and now we're gonna fight shoulder to shoulder with you and just fucking put a hurting on everybody in Enies Lobby. I'd like to know what your answer to that question is in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, nation!
Remember to subscribe to my other channels and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram too.